Hello and welcome to this course where we're going to take a look at how to create value with project management. My name is Oliver, and for the next hour or so, I'll guide you through this course. This course assumes that you understand the basics of project management and may also have attended the online course Getting Started with Project Management. We'll begin by taking a look at the course agenda. So I'll just skip to the next slide. First, I can introduce myself. My name is Oliver, and I work here in e-conomic in the support, both on the telephone support and on the chat support. That means that if you contact us on the support, you might get in touch with me. Well, that was a very brief introduction about me, so now I just think that we should take a closer look at what we will be discussing in this course. So, this course is about how we can create value with the project management, which is exactly what we're going to delve into. In the course, there is no specific thread, as we primarily focus on the features within the project module. In this course, it is expected, as mentioned, that you are familiar with the basics of the project management module and may have attended the online course Getting Started with Project Management, because we do not discuss setup here in this course. I have already done some setup in my agreement, and I've been using the project management module, so we can move on to many of the functions and features that can be used in the project module. If you're not familiar with the basics, I will strongly recommend you to watch the online course Getting Started with Project Management afterwards, or maybe before you watch this video. But what are we going to look at in the project module? The first thing we'll look at is what's called project statuses. So we will explore how to create them and how to use them. Next, we will look at project templates. We'll explore how to create them and discuss the value of creating project templates. After that, we'll delve into something called reallocation. Here we are going to take a look at how to carry out these reallocations. And then we're also going to take a look at the time off in lieu. And we'll also explore how to change employee rates and how a modification of these will have an effect. We will also look at how we can include cost prices in finance and what this means. And finally, we'll look at some reports. I have selected 3. So out of the 7 or 8 reports that you receive when adding the project module, we're going to take a look at some of them and what information they provide us. So that is the plan for maybe the next hour or so. I think we should get started. So now I'll just go right into my economic agreement. So we'll start by go into the project module. As I mentioned, I've already done some setup, so I'll just go into economic here. Perfect. I've already done some setup. As you can see here, I have created some different projects and so on. So I have actually already registered some time and some costs. This first thing we'll look at is the project statuses. The way to create them is in the menu out here. So out on project statuses. And here you can actually use project statuses for a visual overview of your projects. So over here, where it says status, you can actually write some information in here. One thing to note is that you can only enter a maximum of 15 characters here in this status. So if I go down to project statuses in the menu out here to the left, and then I press new status, then we can see here that we should give it a name. So for example, I can write that it is ongoing. And then you can see here that I have the type. If you worked in the project module before, you'll notice that the type repeats a bit in the project module. In the context of project statuses, it doesn't actually mean anything. It's a remnant from all the time that hasn't been removed. So simply just choose if it should be quote sent or realized. It doesn't actually have any significance. So I'll just click on Save and New. And then I can create another project status. And it could be, for example, for invoicing. So I'll just type in here for invoicing. Cool. I'll just click Save. And then I can see I have created these 2 different project statuses. What I can do is associate these project statuses with my projects. So I'll just go back to my project overview up here, current projects, And then actually I can edit my projects. So if I go down here, press edit, then I can go to additional, and then I can choose a status here. So this could be ongoing or in for invoicing. So I have actually already created something, some cost price and some sales prices. So I have done some registration for these projects, and then I can tell someone, okay, this project is actually ready for invoicing. So I'll just put the status here, and then I can press save. Then we can see the status is for invoicing, and I can do that on this also, project number 2. So go to additional, status for invoicing, save, and then I can, for these where I have not done anything or done any registration, I can type them in as ongoing. So just like that. So now I have given 3 of my projects some a project status, and in this way, I have assigned these project statuses to my projects. This actually allows me to sort my projects based on these project statuses. So I can do that by clicking here on status. So I can sort this way, or I can sort it another way. If you use these project statuses frequently, you can also organize it or choose between the different projects with project statuses. So I can tell the system I only want to show the projects that has a certain type of status. So I can actually make an advanced search using the advanced search button up here to the right top corner. So I'll press in here, and then I can tell the system I only want to see the projects that has a status for invoicing. I'll just type it in here in both of these, and then I can press OK. So I'll just press in here, and then I'll have this advanced search where I can see that I only have it's only showing the result of the projects that has the status for invoicing. So that is also a way to search for specific projects that you have created. Cool. If I want to reset the search, I have to click on the red button up here. So reset, and then I can see all of my projects again. An important thing to note is that you can change these project statuses. So, for example, if I realize that my project number 3 should be for invoicing at some point, so I just order it this way again. So this project number 3 is ongoing, but if I maybe create something on it, it could be for invoicing, and then I can actually edit it back to either no status, or I can edit it back for maybe for invoicing. So I'll just edit it out here to the right, and then I'll press additional, and then I can change the status. If I want to, press save, or I can make it blank and then press save. I'll just try to change the status, and then we can see here it is changed. So that was the first thing that we should look at. So we have gone through these project statuses, how to create them and how to use them. And the next thing we're going to look at is what is called project templates. So yeah, let's take a look at the next thing on the schedule. So that is these project templates. So you find that over here in the menu to the left. First, I would like to tell a bit about these project templates. I think that there are two ways to use this project templates. This first way to use it is if you have the same template every time you create a project. Here you can create a project template called, for example, standard, which you can use when creating new projects. Otherwise, it could be that you have some special prices. For example, you have a group of customers, maybe some good customers who should have the same amount of discount or the same special price on the various things that you need to create. You could create it as a project template, and that is actually the two advantages I see using these project templates. I would, of course, like to show you how we can do both. So let's try to create the first project templates. So we just go to projects and go here to the projects in the menu and then on the templates. Then I can create a new template, and then you can name the templates. So what I'll just type in is that type in that it is standard, it is in group number 1, and it should be Anders who should be responsible. And then I would like to have the status ongoing. Then I can press save, and that is actually how easy it is to create a project template. Now I could try to create a new project where I'll just use this template. So I'll go to current projects, creating new project. This could be project number 6. And then I can go here on template and choose standard. So let's see responsible and the group here. So I just choose that, and then it fills in automatically. Then I could give the project a name, project 6, and the customer is this. Then I can also go to additional, and I can see that the status is ongoing, and then I press save. So that is actually how I can create a new project with this project template on it. The next method, or the next advantage way to use these project templates, if you have these special prices, it could be that you have a group of customers, for example, called good customers, and then they should have this special price. So these special prices can actually be created in project template. So I'll just go back to templates and create a new one, press new template, and then I can see, okay, this could be good customers, still group number 1. And in this case, I would not like to have anyone specific to be responsible, and I don't need to add an status. So this is fine with me, filled in, and then I'll press save. And then I'll just go here on the good customers, and then I go out here on this special prices and click on that. This is where I can create these special prices. So I just press new special price. Description could be, okay, this is good customers again. So I have this activity number 1, carpentry. And when it is Anders who works carpentry, then the sales price should be 300 instead of 500, which is the normal price. Then I'll just press save. And that is actually how easy it is to make a special price for my project template. Then I can go back to current projects and create a new project number 7, new project. It's number 7, and then I go out here and template, chooses good customers, picks group number 1. I can say here, this is the project 7, and then the customer. And then I have created what I would like to for this project. I'll just press save. And when I find project number 7, I go out here on special prices. And then I can see that this special price is already on because I used the template. So that is actually the 2 best ways I find to look at or to use these project templates. So yeah, that was actually how I think that the project templates can be used and how you can create them. The next thing we're going to take a look at is what is called project reallocation. So when you have made a time registration or incurred costs on a project, you have approved them or booked it, then you typically cannot change it. To change it, you would need to create a negative registration or a reversal for the already approved or booked project entries. However, there is a workaround where we can reallocate already approved or booked project entries either from one activity to another or from one project to another. So this reallocation is about moving something from one place to another, and that is actually what we're going to look at in connection with this allocation. So if I'll just go back to the current projects. So to perform a reallocation, we need to go to other setup, and then we go to project entries. I'll just remember to fill out this check mark, and then I can press OK. When I've pressed OK, then I can see that this is actually the registrations that I have made. So these are the registrations I've made on project number 1 and project number 2. I know for sure that my employees are new to my company and we have only worked on project number 1 as far. So when I was under current projects earlier, I could see that something has been registered on project number 2, and I actually raised my eyebrows and thought, how can that be? Have I maybe made a mistake? So the reason why I jump down here and look at my project entries, then I can see that I have registered something on project number 2. So I can see that here in the project column that I have registered something on project number 2. And as I said before, I know that I have only worked for project number 1 so far. So actually, I have made a mistake. So what I do here is that I click on the project reallocation button. So out here to the right, I can see that this is for project number 2, and I would really like to change that to project number 1. So I'll go out here to the right, project reallocation, press new reallocation, and I would like to change it to project number 1 and number of hours. I can see that here. So that is actually 7.5 hours. I'll just press save and then I press complete. Do you want to make this reallocation? And yes, I would like to. So I press OK. Cool. Now we can see that it has been changed. So it is no longer on project number 2. It is on project number 1. And I can do that again down here with a cost that I have made. So I'll just again go out here to the right, project reallocation, new reallocation. And then I can say, okay, it's actually for project number 1. And the amount is 320. Save and complete. And then again, okay. Cool. So now I have made this movement where I moved it from project number 2 to project number 1. I can also do what is called an activity reallocation. So if I have selected the wrong activity, then I can perform this activity reallocation to change it just as I did with the project number. So looking here in the overview, I can see that Anas has performed a lot of carpentry work, and I can also see in the text that the activity is number 1. So I can see here, okay, he has made some carpentry, and then he has made some carpentry work, and it's actually activity number 2, which I know it's wrong because activity number 2 is not carpentry work. So again, I can go out here to the right and then press on activity reallocation because I would really like to change this activity from number 2 to number 1. So I press here and press new reallocation. I would like it to, we can see that the activity name is electrical work, and that doesn't, that is not right because Anas is doing the carpentry work. So I would like to change it to carpentry, and number of hours is 7. I'll just press save, complete, and then do I want to make this reallocation? And I really would like to, so I press OK. Perfect. And then I can just take a look at the other entries that I have made. And I can actually see that I have some wires here. So the activity here is number 2, and here it is activity number 1, or cost number 1. So it's a cost type as I have made in this setup up here to the left. So actually, I really would like to change this from number 1 to number 2, so it compares to the other wires that I have bought. And then I can go down here to this line here and then press activity reallocation, new reallocation, and the cost is 400. Sorry, I just need to change the cost, so it is actually number 1. Oh, sorry, number 2, electrical costs. and the amount is 400. That is how I should type it in correctly. Then I say save, go back here, complete. And do I want to make this? Yeah, I would like to. So press OK. And then I can see it is actually changed. So there's 2 here and the activity is 2 here. And now it all looks good. So therefore I can say that now I have made all the correct things. If we go back up here to the current projects, then we can see that I actually have removed everything from project number 2 and it is now on project number 1. Therefore, I can maybe go in and change the status. So I'll just do that. Just press it to change it to ongoing, just for a nice look. So that was actually how you could make this reallocation, and I hope it made sense. Actually, I have a bonus info about the reallocation. So one thing you should be aware of when making these is that you can only reallocate from an open project to another open project, or from a closed project to another closed project. So if you have a closed project where you want to register something, it has to be from another closed project. You cannot do it from an open project to a closed project, or vice versa. I hope it makes sense. So that was actually all for the reallocation. So yeah, the next thing we're going to look at is time off in lieu, and we find that here in the menu to the left under other setup. However, there is some setup that needs to be done first before we can use it, or before we can use the in lieu statement. So let's take a look at that. So I just press down here on time off in lieu, and then I press this setup. I would like to use this in lieu statement, and then I just press in. So I'll give it a check mark, and then I have this period. Would I like it to be weekly or monthly? I would like it to be monthly, so that's why I choose that. Do I have a maximum in lieu hours total? I don't have, but I can just type 999 in. If you don't have a maximum or limit, you can just enter, yeah, 999. So here you just specify the maximum number of hours your employee may earn in regards to time off in lieu. Then we have the thing called factor for time off in lieu down here. Here you need to specify how much 1 hour of overtime gives in time off. So as it stands now, you get 1 hour of time off in lieu for 1 hour overtime. You can also enter maybe 1.5 just to be sweet with your employees. So every time they work 1 hour overtime, they will get 1.5 hours of time off in lieu. So I've been kind to my employees, so I enter 1.5 hours here. Finally, you have the option to enable pay reduction for negative time off in lieu. This can be enabled if a pay reduction should be made if an employee uses too much time off in lieu. So if an employee has used too much, a little reduction in pay can be applied. So this is a field that you can enable or disable depending on what makes sense to you. For me, it doesn't make sense, so I just leave it as it is for now. Then I have set it all up, all that I wanted, and then I actually am ready to press OK. So that is how you set it up. One thing to be aware of is that you need to go to your employees and specify how many hours you expect your employees to work in a week. And actually, again, I have cheated a little bit. So I have my employee Anas, and if I click on the edit pencil next to Anas out here to the right, then I can see that I had already set this up and that he was hired on the 1st of December. And we can actually expect him to work 37 hours per week. So this is again something that I have entered in advance. So remember that you need to go to your employees and specify the hours you expect them to work in a week. Since we're using my employee Anas as an example, I have filled it out for him and not for all the other employees that I have created down here. But again, just press on the edit pencil if you would like to. But we just look at Anas in this Cool. So now I have made the setup. Actually, one thing you should be aware of also is that you need to go to your activities. So here under other setup, then you actually need to edit them. And then you have to press in here in lieu code. So if you use the time off in lieu, then you need to go to your activities and deploy this. So I have this called entitled to time off in lieu, and then I can press this because this is actually an activity that is entitled to the time off in lieu. Then I'll save it and I'll just edit the others also. So this is a reduction in ratio. So maybe if some employees are sick or something, then we'll see that they maybe have an activity for that, and then you can use this in lieu code reduction in ratio. But I haven't made that, so I'll just press entitled to time off in lieu because that makes sense to these three activities that I have created. So perfect, I have done that for all three of my activities, and then let's go back to my employees. We'll just click on Anas here, go to the time, and then we can see I have actually made some time registration for him in week 49, but I haven't made any registrations for the other weeks. So I can just do that quickly by press here. So I can press here on the 1st of December. Then he actually worked 8 hours, his first shift on project number one, activity number one, and then save and new. And I'll just do that for every Friday in this month. So I have these numbers of hours. So it was 40 hours in this month, project number one, activity number one. Now I know it's December and maybe there are some public holidays specified here the 24th, 25th, and 26th. It's not something that I will go through in this course. So please, if you have any questions about that, just reach out to us on the support. Then we can help you create these public holidays. So now I'll just make it quick here. So this is 40 hours for this week, maybe. And it was project one and activity number one. And again, here I can press that is 36 hours, project number one, and he has made activity number one. Cool. Now I have done all my time registration for December month, and then we can check out how this time of lieu statement looks for Anas. We'll just go back here on the monthly timesheet. So I'll just press on December up here to get the good overview of how many registrations of time I've made for Anas in this period. I'll just go to the monthly timesheet, and if we see here, we can see that this is his ratio. So how much could we expect Anas to work in these weeks? And then here we could see how many hours has he actually worked. So we could expect him to work in 155 hours, but he have actually worked in 161 hours. That makes 6 hours earned. So that is 9 hours because we have this converted factor 1.5 to 1. So one um, overdue time is actually 1.5. So that is actually what we can see here, that in lieu total end of period, he actually have 9 hours. Cool. So far, so good. Maybe, or Anas has been employed with me since the 1st of December 2023, but he actually came from another job where he had earned some time off in lieu that he didn't manage to take. So I have kindly, as the kind boss that I am, agreed him to give him those hours. So we agreed that he should already have 20 hours of time off in lieu from the day that he was hired. And actually, I can include that in my in lieu statement. So to get it into my in lieu statement, I just need to do what's called an adjustment. So I can go down and adjust Anders's in lieu total. I can do that under time off in lieu. So I'll just remove this and go back here in time off in lieu, and then I'll choose Anders. And then I go out here of adjustment of in lieu total. So if I do this new adjustment, then I can see it's year 2023. It's from December month, and it's 20 hours. So when I do these adjustments, it doesn't look at the factor where it multiplies with the 1.5. So you should just be aware of that. I can press save here, and then let us go back to employees, find Anas, go to time, and then look at the monthly timesheet again. So if I roll down, then I can see that I have made this adjustment, makes it 29 hours in lieu total in the end of this period. So something to be aware of when making these adjustments is that it doesn't have any financial impact, so it's not booked. And if I go back into time off in lieu and click on my employee, I can always delete it if I need to. So let's just try to do that. I'll just go back to time off in lieu, adjustment, just delete it. And then I can go back and find Anas's monthly timesheet, employees, time, and again, monthly timesheet. And then we can see that the adjustment is actually gone. So now we have been through the time off in lieu, and the next thing we will look at is changing employee rates, which meaning that we can change the sales and cost prices specified on the employees. So if you have made a lot of time registrations and have not approved these time registrations, you can update the employee rates on the time registrations that are not approved. So if we try to make an example, we can go to employees and we can take actually Benny as an example. So I'll just go back to my employees. We can take Benny here. We can see that if we edit him, he has a cost price on 200. I can change that if I would like to, but let's just start making a time registration. So we can make a time registration here on Monday, the 11th December. Say it was 8 hours of work, project number 2, and he has made the activity number 3, plumbing work. I can press save, and then we can see that I haven't actually approved it yet. So I approve like this, but I would not like to approve it right now. Let's go to current projects. We can go to project number 2. I can go to the project card, and then I can include none approved. Then we can see here that we have some cost prices and we have some sales prices, and that is actually the ones that we can change. So here is the plumbing work for Benny on this date. So this is the one I just created. If I would like to change this cost price and the sales price, it is actually something that I can do because this time registration is not approved yet. So I'll just close this one. I'll go back to my employees, and then I can press on Benny here, edit. I would like to have it as 300 as the cost price. And when I change the cost price, I actually also would like to change the sales price, and I have my sales price on my activities. So I used activity number 3, the plumbing work. I can press edit here, and I would like to have it changed to 650 kronas. Then I can press save. And how to make this update on the time registrations or the prices for the employees. Then I can go back here to employees. I'll select other options, and then I can go here to update hourly rates. Press here, and then it says this will update the cost and sales prices for all the entries which has have not been approved. Do you want to perform this action? And I just made these changes. So yeah, I would like to perform this action. Press OK. And then I can go back to the current projects, select project number 2, project card, include none approved. And then I can see these prices have actually changed. So that is actually how you can change these prices if you would like to. So if you only would like to change the cost price, you'll just change that only. And if you want to change the sales price, you can only change that if that's what you would like to. Cool. I hope it makes sense. So yeah, now we have gone through how to update the employee rates. The next thing we're going to look at is the link between accounting and project. So namely, how we can include these cost prices in the finance. You can control it in two different places, on your project groups or on your activity groups. I would like to show you how we do it on our activity groups. So actually, we can activate these cost prices in our balance sheet if it makes sense for us. When you do this, you integrate the activities and cost you have registered on your projects with the finance. So when you include these cost prices in finance, the expenses entries or the expense entries are moved to another account until the project is completed and closed. This way, you can push the expenses so that they are only booked in the profit and loss when the project actually is completed and closed. So let's try to set up in the activity group that I already have created. So I'll just go into activities, just close this one, go into activities and go to activity groups, and then I can edit it. So I'll just press edit, and then I can press a check mark here and that I would actually like to include cost prices in the finance. So this is where you should select some different accounts. So if you have an economic standard setup, I would always, um, or I'll just give an example of what we would recommend you to do. So if you don't have an economic standard setup, I would always recommend you to consult with your accountant or bookkeeper just to make sure that it is correct for you. So in the account ongoing field, we have the account number 5654. So that is what we here in economic would recommend. That is the account for work in progress. Then we have the contra account ongoing, and here we are using the account number 2242, and that is actually the account for project registered wages. And finally, there's the account for closed. So here, this is the account used when a project is closed, and I want it to be booked in the profit and loss on account number 1326. So that is the account for wages on closed projects. Now I have this set up, and remember that these accounts make sense for those using an economic standard setup. So if you don't have an economic standard setup, please consult with your accountant or bookkeeper just to make sure that it is complete correct for you also. Now I'll just save it. So now we have done the setup, and let's see how it actually impacts the finance. For example, if we pull a period total in my reports. So before I do that, I'll just make an time registration on one of my employees. So maybe we could do it on Carsten. We can say that Carsten, we could make an registration here of the 10th of November, new time entry, and could be 8 hours on project number 4, and he has done activity number 2, electrical work. Then I can save it, and then actually I would like to approve it. I would like it to be registered on this date, so the registration date, and I'll just press OK. Then I can go back into the reports. So the cost prices should be visual in the report called period total. So let's just take the report for the date 10th, like that, and then I can press OK. Cool. Then we can see this account called 2242. So if I press here, then we can actually see that this is the time entry that I made for Carsten. What we also can see is that this is actually listed as a system entry. So the reason why it is that, it's because it gets the status of a system entry because I have set the system up to do this bookkeeping for me. Scrolling further down, we can see that it also affects account 5654 down here. So this is actually the work in progress. So it is added to our balance sheet, and this is how it looks when the project is ongoing. Let us try to close the project. It was project number 4, so I would like it to be closed on the same date, so the 10th of November. Let's go to projects, project number 4 here. We can go to more, and then we could go to close project. I'll just type in the correct date and then press OK. Cool. The selected project have been closed. I'll just close it and go back to the reports and take a period total for the same period or the same day. Cool. Let's go here. Then we can see that it's actually affected here on the account called 1326. So actually, when I made this project closure, it moved the entry according to the setup that we did in activating the cost prices in finance. So if we take a look at the account called 2242, it is actually still on there. So when the project registered wages is is made, then it would go to zero because we have to process our wages. If we scroll down, we can see that we have this account called 5654, or actually we cannot see it right now. So let's try to see show accounts without entries. Scroll down to the correct account, and it was 5654, and it's down here. We can see that it goes to zero. If I click on here, then I can see that it has been removed from the account and then removed up to the profit and loss account called 1326. So that is why it goes to zero, or that the balance is zero on this account right now. I hope it made sense for you that that is how we affect the balance when we include the cost prices in our finance. So remember that both cost and sales prices can be included in the finance, but of course, you should only do it if it makes sense to you. The last thing we need to look at is some reports that can be used in connection with the project module. The various reports available in the project module can be found under reports and projects, and under projects there are various reports to choose from. So let's take a look at one of them. We could maybe look at the employee statistics. So I'll just go to reports here. You can just close these. We are interested in the one called named something with projects, and then we could maybe look at the one called employee statistics. So down here, and then I can press OK. So when I have pressed here, I actually get an overview of my employees. I can see how efficient are they with percentage, what are the cost prices, what are the sales prices, what have I invoiced, and so far how much profit do the the different employees make in regards to the cost and sales prices. Because I haven't invoiced anything yet to the customers, then the profit is actually negative in this overview. Cool. So maybe we should take a look at another report. So we could look at the one called employee reimbursement. So if I go here and press OK, then we can get an overview of the time, mileage, and expenses registered on each employee. So here we can see that approved hours. Is there anything that is not approved? Is there anything approved mileage or any mileage that is not approved, and so on? So here you can always get an overview of each employee in terms of whether there's something you need to consider. For example, I can see that I need to improve some of the hours that I have registered for Arnas, and also the 8 hours that are registered for Benny. So that is actually what we can see here in this report. We could also take a look at the report called employee cards. So if I just go down here and press OK, then we can see, I'll just open it up for all. Not that it made a big difference. But here we can get an overview of the entries and activities that we have on our projects. So what have been registered for our employees? What can we can see that maybe we have some employees which have some activities that they have done, and what is the profit again. I need to invoice my customers before getting any profit for all of the work that my employees have made. So that is actually the three reports that I brought with me in the online course called Getting Started with Project Management. Some of the other reports are covered. So that was actually the thing that I had with me in this course. So with all that said, that was the thing that I would like to say regarding how to create value with project management. If you need help or have any questions about what we covered in the course, please feel free to use one of the support options that is on the screen right now. And then I'll just say thank you for watching, and you have a very great day.